What's up, everybody? My name's Fanspace, and today I want to talk about Thorim. Now, there are some fun strategies you can employ when killing Thorim, despite it just being a single target boss. Now, I want to talk about those strategies and talk about how, while they might be riskier, they can increase your raid's DPS. So let's get to it. Now, you might be thinking, well, what can you really do to optimize Thorim? Because everybody just spreads out. You try to avoid damage from Blizzard, from Chain Lightning. You dodge the lightning arc when it comes out, and it's just single target. You just DPS the boss. So what can you really do to optimize your DPS? Well, the main difficulty here is that people are dying to AoE, or area of effect damage. So we want to position the raid in a way that minimizes or even eliminates this damage completely. And the more damage we eliminate, the less healers we need. So if we can reduce area of effect damage that's happening, we can reduce the amount of healers, which also increases our DPS on this fight. So is that possible, and can we do that? Now, there are two main forms of AoE that can be dodged or at least mitigated in a way. The first one I want to talk about is Blizzard. Blizzard just kind of goes around the outside of the room. So the logical strategy here is, let's just put as few people on the outside of the room as possible. The more we have in the middle, the less damage that people will take from Blizzard. Okay, so that's step one. Well, what's step two? The second thing that we want to dodge is his lightning charge ability. This is a wide-spreading arc of damage that will hit anybody in its path, so most people have to move, or at least towards the end of the fight you have to move. You can stand in it in the beginning of the fight and it doesn't do too much damage, but as Thorim gains charges throughout the fight, this ability will deal more and more damage. So what can we do to position the raid in a way that minimizes the damage taken from this ability? Well, if you've ever looked around the room, then you know that there are these lightning pillars that are the things that Thorim shoots his lightning charge ability at. But if you look closely, you'll notice that where the gate is to the tunnel for phase 1, there's a missing lightning pillar. There should be one there based on the symmetry of the room, but there isn't. Now, the fact that Thorim only targets these when he does his lightning charge means that to that left side of the room, when you're facing the boss from the entrance, there's going to be less lightning charges going that way. So now, thinking about Blizzard and thinking about lightning charge, what if we have everybody in the left side of the room spread about the middle, or at least all the ranged players, all your healers, all your ranged DPS? And that's going to mitigate a lot of the damage that Thorim does between Blizzard and lightning charge. So we have everybody spread out in the room far enough to the center, or close enough to the center, that they don't get hit by Blizzard as it's going around the room, but also in a way that as lightning charge goes out, hopefully it's not going to be on the left side of the room. But if it does get cast towards all of the range, what we do is we have a paladin use their divine sacrifice to shield the raid from the damage they're going to take. Now, this might not even be necessary for the first one or two lightning charges that go out, but as Thorim's damage ramps up, it'll absolutely be necessary. Now, if you're a squishy ranged and you might get wombo comboed by Sif, who's casting random frost bolts and frost novas, so you'll have to be pretty careful about when you use your health stones, when you use any defensives, especially as the fight gets towards the end. This is why it's a risky strategy, because if your damage is low, then you might run out of defensive abilities to save yourself, and you could just die to the lightning charge damage. So now, where's the boss being tanked? Well, we have the boss on the right side of the room. It's in a spot where the melee will be, again, from the entrance of the room facing where the boss is. The melee will be to the left of the boss in their little stacks to avoid chain lightning too much. But they'll also be out of the range of Blizzard as it goes around. Really, only your tanks will be the one taking Blizzard damage, and it's not that much damage for them. They should be fine. So what's the point of this strategy? What are we accomplishing by doing this? Well, by having our ranged be in positions where they don't need to move for the AoE damage that's happening, they'll have higher uptime on the boss, and they just keep on damaging. They just keep doing their DPS. Instead of it getting interrupted by having to run around for Blizzard or run out of lightning charge, they can just DPS the boss the entire fight. Now, again, towards the end of the fight, especially if your DPS is a little bit lower, this can be scary. So it might not be something you want to do if your kill times are, 205 or slower. This is definitely a speed kill strat. So if you're optimizing your raid for speed, I'd highly recommend doing it, because I think it's going to save you some time, because it's going to increase your damage and increase your uptime, but it can be risky. So you need to be careful about that. As a Shadow Priest, I've never really felt that I was going to die from Lightning Charge on its own. The only problem really is when you get comboed with a Frostbolt or a Frost Nova, as I mentioned. If I have under, 16, 17,000 health, that's when I get scared. There's been times when I've died, and it's been right at the end of the fight, usually the final 5 or 10%. And I didn't disperse, mainly because I was tunneling the boss and it didn't even cross my mind. And if I did, I would have survived. But it can get risky on those final few percents of the fight. So if you do this, make sure you're careful about it. Have all of your DPS ready to use health stones and whatever defensive abilities they have to survive. Anyway, that's all I got for you in this video. Let me know how it goes if you give this strategy a try, and good luck to you in Ulduar. Alright, my name's Pantspace, and I'll see you in the next one.